Okay, hi everyone. We're back in the Black Flag Media Studio, Freedom. And we decided what we would be talking about, and it was going to be Charlie, well, it still is Charlie Angus, our friendly NDP member of Timmins, Ontario.
Yep.
And I have had a couple of run-ins with Charlie, and when I've been in Ottawa, and he has yelled at me and others to go get a job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a few of us have jobs, but also we're freedom fighters. So then we saw him when we were for the anniversary.
For the anniversary? Well,
So,
the day before.
The day before on the West Block. And I saw him coming down the stairs, and I kind of, I say something to him, something like, are you still worried about me having a job, or something to that effect. Yeah. And then I flagged Derek over and said, it's Charlie Angus. So you went and asked him a question about the, Northern Ontario needs oil, because Charlie Angus has a private members bill up in the House, and it's Bill C-372. And it's kind of a silly one, and people are saying it's not likely to go through. But the point of talking about this is the fact that he is in this bill. It's also called the Fossil Fuel Advertising Act.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to criminalize. This is what concerns me.
Criminalize promotion
of any fossil fuels. And he's asking for a $500,000 fine and up to 2 years in jail.
Yeah.
So this up to 2 years in jail. Do you want to talk about Charlie before we go into the 2 years in jail?
Yeah, sure. A brief background about Charlie if you don't know him. So Charlie Angus, he's Timmins James Bay is his writing, what it was called. So he was born there, but he left in 1978. So I know personally. So that's his writing. He doesn't even live in his writing. He lives down here in Toronto. So that and that partially to do because he has a band. But I'll just kind of go through a few things that you should know. Like, I call him a lunatic, and he is. One Montreal newspaper called him the most toxic person.
Really?
Most toxic person in Parliament. So he goes after everybody. I'm going to swear. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's
okay. Okay, so he's called...
it's in this?
Originally he called Pierre Poilievre a total fucking political snake. He called Harper an asshole. But he's also called, he called Jean Chrétien a jackass to his face one time. So he's divisive. He's kind of a little bit deranged. Now, the biggest thing, what I wanted to talk to him too, was I wanted to hit him up obviously with the oil thing, but let's go back maybe, is it 6 months ago? Maybe 6 months ago when Sheila Lewis died. Remember Sheila Lewis? That she was waiting for the transplant?
Oh, right, yeah, Sheila, yes, of course.
So yeah. I'll read his quote. So he said, she died because she preferred to fight for disinformation and anti-vax bullshit and conspiracy. So that's what he said. And that was not 2 days after that. That was the day that she died. So, that just kind of shows you what kind of person he is. Now, he did take that tweet off. But he left it up for 2 days after. Like, he was still going at
just
it because of that.
Horrible. Yeah. No compassion or anything.
Compassion.
And what, was disturbing to me, actually, when we were in Ottawa and after you asked him about the fossil fuel, and then he came back, and I don't know if they'll hear that raining, but anyway, it's raining out. And you asked him about the fossil fuel, and then he came back, and I don't know who, I'd like to see who it might have been, but somebody behind me started saying freedom, freedom. So I said it too, and I just stood there very quietly like this and saying freedom, freedom. Well, as he walked by, and you can see another Black Flag Media story about this, because I put it out, which has gotten a lot of hits on that view, he does this to us, which I read as bullshit. Other people may see it otherwise. And I thought, wow, and he was filming that, and I thought, wow, that is so strange. Yeah. And when I looked him up in his information, and he's very heavily into the Roman Catholic Church.
Yes.
Now,
that's what he says he is.
I think that's bizarre as a very whatever religious person to be doing that to freedom. I don't know. Maybe I'm making something up.
Well, plus he's very pro-abortion.
Okay.
So and he's Catholic. So.
Oh, really? That's odd.
Let him deal with that.
Right.
But
for a Catholic, I don't know. I just found it kind of bizarre. But yeah, that's Charlie Angus. So I wanted to talk about Charlie Angus, that little bit about him.
Do
But
you know
this,
the name of his band?
no,
Since we're talking about religion.
no.
So he's in a band, and if you can YouTube.
Is he still in this band?
Oh
Is
yeah,
he
they still go on.
going?
You can
okay.
YouTube this stuff, but it's
Right.
horrible. It's like folk music. Like but not that I don't like folk music, but
Okay.
it's a horrible band. But it's called Grievous Angels.
Oh,
Is
okay.
is the name of his
Well,
band.
we'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And if you live in his writing, like one of the things is, how can he take fuel out of Northern Ontario?
I don't know.
Like,
I mean, all
like
of that is bizarre.
You'll
Stephen
get
Gilbo.
you'll get
Yeah.
stuck in an electrical
Yeah.
car on some highway.
Yeah.
Um,
It's crazy talk.
it's
But
crazy.
we'll have to do a Stephen Gilbo day
Yeah.
one time, but and talk about Stephen Gilbo. But this lead into him suggesting people should be jailed up to 2 years brings
Yeah.
me to, now we all know as
Big
of
news of the day,
yesterday,
the week.
we've got it here. We've got the whole bill. Here it is, like pages and pages of Bill C-63, which they're calling the No Harms Act.
Correct.
And, I've briefly gone through this,
Yeah.
and I briefly went on through online, and I'm sure you're hearing other people's
Yeah.
commentary on it. And what really annoyed me is Arif Virani, who we've highlighted a little bit
Mhm.
before when he was talking about the trucker convoy,
Yeah.
and him saying yes to the Emergency Act. I really don't like him at all
No.
now, and I watched him. He
He's
brings
a
on a
complete
woman,
ideologue.
and camouflage this whole thing as a protection of children.
Sure.
So if you go against this bill, then you don't want protection of children. Like, it was just sickening
It's
to me.
sickening. And this is a guy who's a trained constitutional lawyer.
Yes.
So, well, we don't, if it was 10, 15 years ago, this wouldn't even get off the floor because you could easily see that it's unconstitutional. But now who knows with this government what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
yeah.
So this really did disturb me, and they right up front they're talking about the child pornography and all of that. That's their main thing. But as someone else called it, and I can see that it's a Trojan horse. So they bring up this whole child pornography and internet and all that, and of course we don't want child pornography. I mean, I'll speak for myself,
Yeah.
but of course not. And as far as I know, it's illegal to begin with. So fine, but then they bring what they're bringing in this Trojan horse is they're amending the Criminal Act.
Yeah.
So with the amendments to the criminal code, so not the act, the criminal code,
Yeah.
and they want to create a standalone hate crime.
Yeah.
So this is what they're bringing in. So they camouflage it with child pornography, and inside of that is also this hate crime. And this can be now up to life imprisonment. And what, if you want to talk about that for a sec,
Sure.
while I kind of
So
find
you
what
look
I
through
was
that,
looking
so-
for. Yeah,
So the reason why, so let's go back a little bit. So there was that other bill, that anti-child pornography bill, which was C-20.
CS210.
S-210,
Yeah.
sorry.
Mhm.
So that the Liberals shot that down, and everyone was saying, well, why did they vote against it? So this is in essence what they do down in the States. They do these tricky things. So they put through a bill, they call it something else, but then it's tied into something. So they're calling it the
No Harms
no harm.
Act, Online
But,
Harms Act. Yeah.
If they had passed that anti-child pornography thing, then they
can do
couldn't
this.
use this to put it in. But it's very disturbing. So what it does do is it takes away the CRTC. So the CRTC used to be a regulator. So they would they regulate everything audio and visual, the radio stations, TV stations, everything goes to the CRTC. So CRTC will have absolutely no management over this. But it's interesting that they call it, what's the digital?
Digital, I'll find it. The
New Digital-
Safety Commission.
Yeah.
Digital Safety Commission.
So let's go back through every tyranny in history, right? They always have the thought police.
Yeah.
What's right? All the Stasi, Czechoslovakia, Romania, they always have that. Nazis had the SS. What was going to be deemed the truth? So this document as a whole, this is all 1984. Like they say, how many fingers do you see, right? And well, actually, so it's 4 fingers. How many fingers do you see? But it's really 5. So this is what it is.
It's, I say it's more than a slippery slope,
Oh.
for sure, if this were to be passed.
Yeah. But it also says that they can charge you with if they think
Yeah, they
you're
think
even
that-
going to commit an act. So this is, I mean,
It's scary stuff, and
Yeah.
so we really have to stop this from going through. So this bill is to amend the criminal code. Where was that other one? Oh, here. This is what I want to read. Is that the commission? What you were saying, the Digital Safety Commission, will be established, and that any content that foments, which means incite, hatred. Means content that expresses, I'm now quoting this, content that expresses detestation or vilification of any individual or group of individuals on the basis of a prohibited ground of discrimination. So when I read that, I'm like, what the heck does that mean?
That's about as open-ended as everything possible.
Yeah, so really within the meaning of the Canadian Human Rights Act. And that, given the context in which it is communicated, is likely to foment detestation or vilification of an individual or group of individuals on the basis of such a prohibited ground. Well, who's to say what this ground is?
Yeah.
Well, it sounds to me like it's this Digital Safety Commission.
If you just have to report that you're offended by what somebody says,
Yeah.
and then
There's a lot
hate
of
speech.
holes in this, I'll tell you, a lot of things that are not good. And so I would seriously suggest people read this act as best they can and know what it's about, and then
Well, there's cases right now that's in court where, considering the LGBTQ or whatever, the whole list of
the alphabet.
the alphabet of people that were, having an opposing view. Did you know that the Crown in some of those cases actually put in evidence letters from people from that group that weren't even involved in that situation, but felt offended just watching
Yeah,
it
they were
or
offended.
seeing
Yeah,
that.
of course.
So you see where you see this is
Yeah.
it's pure thought police,
Yeah.
and obviously Justin wants to silence his critics,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
and well, more than silence, he's going to put you in jail.
Yeah, and that's the point. I was kind of bringing into what Charlie was. They're asking for jail time for these things, jail time, and this particular amendment to the criminal code is asking for life imprisonment. Now, I'm sure you've heard this around, but it is true. It's right in here, life imprisonment.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about? And I hope Phil doesn't mind me saying, but I was speaking to my cousin Phil Brooks, who many of you have gotten to know, and he said, well, it's the Liberals, NDP's new housing solution. Put us all in jail.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be using a little picture to put this up with, but it's not funny, but it made me laugh a little bit. But the truth of the matter is they're trying to get us, either kill us, and I don't want to be this sort of conspiracy theorist person or to alarm people, but it seems to me that they're trying to get rid of us in some manner, financially, wipe us out, medically wipe us out. I don't know. Now what? Put us in prison?
Well, yeah.
Because they don't like our thought, or they're offended by us?
Yeah. Well, look at Julian Assange. Look how he was the first, really. A lot of people were awake till then. He was the first one shining the spotlight for most people to see, hey, look what's going on here.
Yeah.
They've put something similar to this already in Ireland. Now, it's only been 2 months, but Ireland's on fire right now. Ireland's on fire. I mean, if they suspect something on your phone and you haven't even sent it, it's still a crime in Ireland. So this is where this bill can go as well, because they say even if you're suspected of propagating it.
And they don't have to name the person who's called in on you.
No,
oh, hi, I think that so-and-so's, looking at child pornography or having some hate speech or something. Okay, well, who told you that? I don't have to tell you.
You don't have to tell. This is complete. 1984.
He's pointing to this.
Yeah, sorry. That's 1984.
Yeah. So we have to.
The George Orwell book, for those that don't know.
Yeah, we have to do our best to stop this, and again, it's like write your MP, write your Senate, because
Yeah.
this will likely make it to the Senate floor. But we've got to make them it known that we're not going along with this.
No.
And and they camouflaged it, they cloaked it in this child pornography thing. They could have just voted for S210, but no, they didn't do that. You guys can look that up. We don't have to get.
But
there's
there's enough laws already on our criminal
Yeah,
code
absolutely
to
there
deal with
is.
this. This is just malicious
Yeah,
persecution is what they're.
it totally
doing.
is, and I think
thought
that
police.
it's just a camouflage to a cloak to bring in this part of the thought police, the the hate speech. So we just have to stop it in any way we possibly can. So hey, freedom fighters, I don't letter writers, get to your MPs.
But this is the last step, right? So they've already got this indoctrinated in the universities and the schools, right? It's just us, this generation that's outside of university, that's aimed at. But if anything, this should unite us with a lot of other groups, religious groups, civil liberties groups as well, authors. Like this will also lead to
book banning.
Book banning. That would be the first.
Which
thing.
They've already
started doing it anyway. Yeah.
And this is what
gives
kills
them
me.
an excuse to wipe everything out.
Yeah, this is what kind of kills me about the school thing is they've taken a lot of books off the shelves that were beyond prior whatever date, and they've included books that are sexually explicit, like really explicit. I've seen a few. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even look at that myself, and yet that's okay. So I mean, we know we're living in a upside down weird world right now, and we are doing our best to straighten it up and fly it right. But this one is scary. This one is scary. This No Harms Act, this bill C-63. Let's do what we can to stop it.
Yeah, we have to. This is it. We have to stop it.
This one's bad.
This is really bad. Yeah. So it's the war. It's the Emergency Act without the Emergency Act, because you'll just have this. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Just
what do we say? Form. See in the gulag?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Yeah.
Like anything we say or do, we don't even. This way say it's thought police, because I don't. Oh, can I say that?
Because actually, if you can go into it's also symbolism in there as well. So they may deem a flag offensive.
Exactly.
Right?
It's whatever they decide.
Exactly.
Whatever they decide. And there's not a list of things. They're not saying, oh, this is what is called hate speech.
Yeah.
No, there's no list. So it's whatever they deem hateful in that moment in time. So we don't know. That's why it becomes thought police.
Well, sure.
Like, oh, is my flag okay? Is if I say, oh, I really hate anything.
We need to change the government. What's that going to be?
Yeah.
That's seditious.
Yeah.
You can't have
really
that.
Bad.
So
we've got to stop this one. This one's got to be stopped in its tracks. And quite honestly, maybe this will be hate speech, but I do not like Arif Virani.
Well,
Sorry, going out there. I don't like Charlie Angus, but he's just kind of a goofball.
He's a trained lawyer. He used to be a member of a bar. He was trained in constitutional law. That just shows you how
he's our justice minister.
That just shows you how ideologically corrupt and seditious this Liberal Party is. That even he would even think of putting his name behind that, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, seriously bad. Yeah, he scares me because he is our justice minister. Now, mind, we've lost a few because Justin doesn't...
well, he doesn't believe in the justice system, right?
Yeah.
So
when they're morally, they actually hit their moral wall, they kind of go, oh, you got to go.
Yeah.
Justin doesn't like justice ministers too much. But I think Virani's maybe even worse than Lametti. I can't believe I'm saying that. But I think he might be worse than Lametti.
No, he is. He's so ideologically.
So watch him present himself and see if you guys agree with me. But I think he needs. I'm afraid to say stuff. See, a thought police.
Yeah.
It's already happening.
Yeah.
But I think he needs to resign. I think he needs to. Yeah. I don't think he's a good justice minister at all.
Well, again, it shows how corrupt this country really is in the government. We should have an independent judiciary that looks after these guys, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Exactly, right? So he's so adamant about this, but he has blatant theft with the Arrive Can app.
Yeah.
And for that, he doesn't mention a
That
thing
doesn't
about
matter.
like the people that he's sitting beside are blatantly thieves.
Yeah.
That they, and nothing.
The fact that, like I said this to you and to others, but the fact that we've got someone here in Canada, Paul Bernardo, that we all know is, a horrible serial killer and who was in maximum security. Okay, great. He's in there. Well, we also, most of us know that he's slipped through the cracks somehow. Marco Mendicino had no idea, being the safety minister. David Lametti at the time, being the justice minister, no idea. But now Paul Bernardo's doing his time in medium security. And that's okay. But if you have a bad thought or you say something offensive, boom, you're in.
Well, what are they going to do with Robert Picton? He's coming up for his parole.
Like, how do they even get parole? But, I guess, I actually think it's good. We don't to get all into the justice system and the parole system, but I do, even though, he's been found guilty many, he's been found guilty. I do think it's a good, I don't know, like a safety net, to have these parole hearings. I think it's still a good thing because you never know. Somebody could have been falsely accused. So it keeps a safety net on it, but that's a topic for another day. But I just think there's going to be a lot of us doing time.
Well, doing time. Well,
hey,
I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I have, I've talking to some police that are on our side. I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Instead of we're doing this now.
That they say that the cops say, we're enforcing that.
No, okay.
But that it could be even worse. Who else would he bring into it?
Yeah,
that's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So, but let's just kill this bill first. Yeah, we got to kill this bill. Yeah, we'll be in jail for saying that. But hey, I think a lot of us will be in jail together. So let's kill this bill. Kill Bill. Remember that movie, Kill Bill? We've got a movie, Kill Bill C-63. I don't know if you can see it there, but Kill Bill C-63. Let's go. All right.
Freedom, everybody.
The fight goes on.
Yeah, next time. We'll see you next time. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.